Most men believe they think their way through life. They believe decisions are made with reason, that logic leads, that feeling follows. They are mistaken. The opposite is almost always true. Emotion leads, intellect follows. This is the first thing to see clearly. Most decisions are made by feeling first. The body reacts, the nervous system selects, then the mind is called in to explain. It arrives later, after the fact, to justify what was already chosen. This happens so quickly that it feels like thinking, but it is not thinking. It is reaction dressed as sense. Pleasure pulls, pain pushes. The choice feels obvious. The mind says, this makes sense, but the machinery beneath thought had already decided. Logic is not the author, it is the editor. It smoothes over the gaps. It builds a story that sounds reasonable. It defends what was already done. Justification is not causation. The reasons people give are rarely the reasons they acted. They are shields against regret, narratives built after movement has stopped. A man says, I did this because of that. He believes it, but the real sequence was reversed. He acted, then he explained. And once explained, the story hardens. It feels true. It becomes the version he remembers, the version he defends, the version he repeats to himself whenever the same feeling returns. This is not dishonesty. It is how the system operates. Most men do not know they are doing this. They believe their logic is sound. They believe their reasoning holds up. And in a way, it does within the private structure they have built. Logic systems are personal, not universal. Each man operates on his own internal framework, a private set of rules that determine what makes sense to him, what feels reasonable, what seems justified. And within that framework, everything is consistent. The problem is not that the logic is broken, it is that the logic was built on feeling. It was designed to support what the body already wanted, so it runs smoothly, cleanly, without friction, until it hits reality. That is when the system shows its cracks. But even then, the system defends itself. Confirmation bias protects the machinery. Evidence that supports the feeling is accepted. Evidence that challenges it is dismissed. Contradictions are ignored. Explanations are reinforced. And the system stays intact. Behavior becomes predictable once the system is known. Inputs stay the same. Outputs repeat. A man reacts the same way, justifies the same way, ends up in the same place. Not because he is weak, because the machinery beneath thought has not been questioned. Now here is what matters. This is not about understanding others. It is not about analyzing someone else's logic, or picking apart their reasoning, or proving them wrong. This is about seeing your own machinery at work, without defense, without narrative. Most men have never looked at their own internal system. They have never asked, why did I actually choose that? They stop at the explanation. They accept it. They move on. But the explanation is not the cause. The feeling came first. The logic came second. And the feeling is still running the system. That is the line that needs to be drawn. Emotion is a signal, not a ruler. Feelings provide information. They indicate preference. They reveal what the body wants. But they do not determine what should be done. They're not commands. They are data. And data, by itself, does not decide. Intellect is a tool, not an excuse. The mind is meant to organize, to evaluate, to direct. It is not meant to justify every impulse. It is not meant to smooth over every reaction. It is meant to separate what is useful from what is not. Order returns when each stays in its place. Emotion signals. Intellect weighs. Will decides. That is the sequence. But for most men, the sequence is broken. Emotion decides. Intellect explains. Will never enters the picture. And the system runs on autopilot for years. Awareness interrupts automation. Once the machinery is seen, it loses some of its authority. Not all at once, not completely, but permanently. A man begins to notice when feeling is choosing for him. He begins to catch the moment before justification arrives. He begins to see the difference between what makes sense to him and what is actually true. That gap matters. It is the space where discipline operates. Discipline is not suppression. It is not denying the feeling. It is not pretending the impulse does not exist. Discipline is choosing who decides, not feeling, not impulse, not the private logic system built to protect old reactions, but command. Strength is choosing who decides. That is where authority returns, not through force, not through willpower alone, but through structure, through order, through deliberate decision to stop letting emotion write the script. The machinery does not disappear. It still runs, it still signals, it still pulls, but it no longer rules. That is the difference between being carried by the system and standing above it. Most men never make that separation. They spend their lives defending choices they did not consciously make, justifying patterns they inherited, repeating behaviors they never questioned. And they call it reasoning. But reasoning is not automatic. It is trained. And once trained, it obeys. The past ran one way. The future does not have to. Emotion leads until it is taught not to. Intellect follows until it is ordered to lead. That order is not discovered. It is built, deliberately, daily, without exception. The man who sees his own machinery does not need to dismantle it. He just needs to stop letting it run him. And once that line is drawn, it holds.